No, you're probably aware of this. It was Tuesday, one of the largest cargo ships in the world, longer than 4 football pitches. It is humongous. Well, it's stuck. It is wedged in the Suez Canal, blocking other ships from passing and causing a huge traffic jam, disrupting £6.5 billion worth of goods a day. Wow. So bear with me on this one. I don't know if you realise where I'm going here, but I was just thinking dodgy drivers, and given that I've got the world's worst driver sitting next to me, I just wondered if we had any stories to tell on that one.
You start, Stacey.
Oh, God. I mean, between me and Linda, it's not looking good.
OK, you go first, Stacey, and then Denise and I will decide who's the worst, OK?
It's not so much my terrible driving, but I would say one of the worst things that ever happened to me was I broke down on the motorway and it had no hard shoulder and I had a baby in the back of the car. That was the scariest time I've ever broke down, but they were amazing. The motorway people were really good. They acted really quickly, and I remember getting out, putting my hazards on, shutting the car, getting out of the car, getting the baby out and jumping over the metal fence on the side and just running up the hill because I was so scared that someone was going to go into the car and it was going to... the whole thing just, and I sat there with the baby like, oh, my God, I'm sitting on the side of the motorway. That was my worst. I've had a couple of dinks in my time that are questionable, but I do really... I'm really funny with driving. I try and be good.
How long have we got?
Well, yeah, you know what? I know when you're warming up to a good story, Linda, because you start to rub it like that. And I think, here we go, we've got a Linda story coming in.
Tell. All right, I'll tell the one about... I was in Iceland.
This is my favourite story of all time.
Not the country, the supermarket.
The supermarket, all right, not the country, right,
and I'd parked in the car park, and as I got out, this woman was having trouble parking. So my sister was with me, Debbie, so I said, I'm going to help her. She went, mind your own business, nothing to do with you. You're always sticking your nose in where it don't belong. I went, I'm just being helpful. It's called being helpful, Debbie. So I go over to her, I went, excuse me, would you like some help with parking the car? She went,
now, can we just stop there and remind everyone that you were voted the UK's worst driver?
Yeah, OK.
She hadn't seen that.
That's one of the only things I've ever won in my long career. Anyway, so I get in the car and I was, like, taking me time parking it, and all of a sudden I reversed and hit a bollard.
It's somebody else's car.
Yeah. I was going, I'm so sorry. Debbie went, I told you, mind your own business. Keep your nose out of other people's business. What's the matter with you? So that was one. And another one, Mark got me a new car one day. It was a two-rag, whatever it's called. And I dropped Louis at the National Theatre, and like he said, be careful with the car now. It's a new car. You know what you're like. I said, it'd be fine, absolutely fine. So I pulled over to let someone go, and there's one of them big bells in the road. And when I tried to pull off, I was wedged on the bell. So I thought, oh, no, he's going to kill me now. What am I going to do? So I drove home, had a look at it. I thought, oh, my God, this is it. This is the end of our marriage. So I just parked it. So I go in, he went, all right. So I said, yeah, nothing, all fine. Dropped him off, he's fine. And then the next morning he went out, he went, what's happened to the car? I went, I don't know. He went, oh, it must have been the dustman when they was taking the rubbish. I went, yeah, blooming dustman it was.
Oh, my God.
No, I did own up to it after a long time.
I would do that, though. I would hide.
I mean, of course, everyone wants to know who was actually the captain of this blooming ship, because they are in big trouble. But actually, we've just got an update on that. We have got the captain. We can just have a look now. There we go.
I would have easily been able to get him out of there.
You should go over there and be like, look, do you want some help moving that boat?
Move over, mate. I'll do it for you. What about you, Denzi?
Once I was driving in Mallorca with my best friend Angie Lonsdale years and years ago, and obviously driving on the wrong side of the road, I looked over the wrong shoulder and reversed into a white van full of 9 builders. Can you imagine the blonde moment of horror that I had when that happened? The other one was when I was doing a pantomime at Bury St Edmunds in the 80s, and I was really poorly, but my friends in Brighton said, you can't go home, so come to us. Drove up the motorway in this old Hillman Avenger that I'd bought for 250 quid on a job in Wales. And it was a blue one like that, two-tone, blue and rust, my ex-husband used to say. And driving up, the windscreen shattered. I had to pull across 3 lanes, going with like beep, 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 beep. Sat in the back for 3 hours, no mobile phone. Had to go to that horrible thing where you walk up the motorway. It was just awful. Handed over me little brown envelope wage packet, and got to Brighton next day, new windscreen, drove back down to the Panto for a Boxing Day show. Brakes went, terrifying. I actually was then taken on the tow truck to the theatre, and it was pleurisy, and I was so poorly I fell off the beanstalk and ended up in hospital between the matinee and the evening show.
Were you dressed as a witch at the time?
She loves to make an entrance. These were the days that driving was fun. You have sent in some absolutely brilliant stories on this one. I love this one from Rox. She says, I drove off at the green light during a lesson with my instructor running behind the car. It's like Frank Spencer.
I've got one here from Lisa. I once came out of a store, sat myself in my car, only it wasn't my car. There were 3 children in the back seat, terrified, probably thinking they were about to be kidnapped.
My dad's done that before. We've watched him get in someone else's car and we're like, where's he going? Kelly said, I failed my driving test before I even left the test centre because I nearly crashed into the gates and the examiner had to grab the steering wheel. But don't worry, I passed after 4 more tests. But driving tests are scary.
Oh, my God,
They're not real conditions of driving.
No.
The pressure is far too much. Don't worry, Kelly.
Denzi, you got a quick one?
Yeah, I have. Kevin says, I think these may be all about women, but Kevin says, my ex used to be so scared of roundabouts, she used to drive around with her eyes shut. I can relate to that. You know, when you go into a car park and it's got how big the car should be. I've done that and just done that with me.
We're not selling it for women drivers, are we?